nobody wants to be stuck just saving at home and not doing anything. I 100% understand that. And I think when people talk about budgets, they're thinking, you know, you're in a cave, saving, 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 work, saving, saving. It doesn't have to be like that. So today we're going to go over how you can still have a life and save money at the same time and keep your budget. Hey guys, so as always today I'm going to have my little notepad just to keep everything organized. Before my videos I kind of brainstorm what I want to talk about so I can keep it in a very clean, strategic path. Otherwise we will be all over the place, not making any sense. It makes sense in my head, but it may not make sense to you. So I figured I would write it all down. I just have some 3 main tips and then just some other little kind of tidbits here that I want to talk about. And it's going to be covering how to have a budget and save while still having a life. The first one that I want to talk about, and I think it's the biggest one, is determining what are your goals. Because that will determine everything, right? Not everybody has the same goals. And I think when you watch a lot of these budgeting and saving videos, it's people saving for a house or a car or to invest in their company. Your goal may not match that. So the first thing is figuring out what you want. What are your goals? Write them all down. Then the second step would be working backwards to figure out what you need monthly. So say you want a car in a year and it's $20,000. You need to figure out, you know, how much would that be monthly? And then once you have that, you need to figure out if you can actually fit that cost into your budget. If not, you may need to do a cheaper car. You may need to extend your timeline. You kind of have to play with it so that it fits. Just because there's so many different moving factors. Make sure you guys check out my budgeting videos, one of the first ones I posted too, to kind of give you a better understanding of how to budget your life. Just some tips and tricks and what to look for, what do you need, what should you be cutting, what should you be keeping. It's kind of just a basic guide that I have used. I've paid about $150,000 off of debt to date, so I know a little bit. It took me some time. But I did a bunch of different things, and even to date, now that I am out of debt, I still follow a very strict budget just because I'm saving and trying to pay other things off. So I'm on a very, very strict budget, and I know I've learned a lot of things about credit and saving and percentages of your income and how to, things like that. It all has helped me to my point now, but it was because I spent years and years and years in the mud struggling with my credit and trying to pay things and not having enough money and spending money in the wrong places. So that's a good tidbit there. I will be going more in depth into the subject in the future. But for now, that's a good starting point. That is very, very important. As always, budget you money, extra money, whether it's for fast food, whether it's for your nails, which I know I need to get them done, COVID, right? Whether it's for going to the movies during normal life, not right now. For me, something huge is most mornings I go grab an ice cap. That's about $2.75, $2.70 a morning. Times, 5 days, times 4 weeks, that adds up a lot. But I don't drink coffee or tea. I've tried to make ice caps at home. It's not the same consistency. This is, oh my goodness, drama in my life. I can't make an ice cap. But that's something that I like, that makes me happy. It gives me, my caffeine. So I budget that in just because, yes, I could save that $50 a month or whatever it is. Well, actually, I don't get it every day. But it's something little that I like that helps me. Same as like my nails. Obviously they're not done right now. I'm trying to avoid going anywhere during COVID. But I personally feel better when I have my nails done. So that's something that I put in my budget. It's not, I don't do any elaborate $200 nails or anything like that. I usually get simple sets. But little things like that, that are just for you. Otherwise you will go insane. And I say this because I am 31 now. I just paid off a bulk of my debt at the beginning of this year. So from 18 to 31, I have been in debt and struggling and in pain. If I didn't spend any money on anything for my sanity in those amount of years, it would be crazy. You know what I mean? Like, you need to do some things for you. And I know a lot of these budgeting videos are cutting and, no expensive shopping and stuff like that. And yes, 100%. I do not own anything designer to date. Well, I've never been a huge designer person, but mostly because, do I want to spend $2,000 on a bag, or do I want to put $2,000 in my savings? Right now, the $2,000 in my savings helps me get my goals faster than a Chanel purse. As much as I would love a Chanel purse, it's just not in my life goal right now to get one. So it's just a matter of priorities. It's a matter of what you want. But just because you're saving or budgeting does not mean you cannot do anything for yourself or you cannot have any sort of life. It just means you need to cut down, right? So instead of partying every single weekend, party once a month. You know what I mean? You can still do things so that you have a life, just in moderation. And again, depending on your goals, you may not have any goals to save, then go for it. Blow your check. You know what I mean? Or you may have very crazy goals, or not crazy in a positive way. I mean, like, I have $0 right now. I want to buy a house in 3 years. Well, in the GTA, houses bare minimum are like $700,000. So, you know what I mean? If you're planning on buying a house in 3 years, you need to cut everything. So it totally just depends on you, your goals, what you want. But always make sure to budget just a little bit of money for you to have fun or on yourself, because that will help you stay in the zone and motivated throughout the entire process. Pressure. Okay, so those are my 3 main points of advice. These ones are just kind of little tidbits that I've learned throughout my journey. Pressure is a huge one. I am very big on that. I set a goal and I've put so much pressure and anxiety on myself to complete that goal. I'm just one of those people where I'm freaked out inside until I get it done. So that could be bad if you're making unreasonable goals. I put a lot of pressure on myself because, well, I want my son to have an amazing life. And even aside from that, I want to do amazing things. I want to be somebody that my son and my dad and them, like, they're proud of, you know, that's always been big for me. So I have this pressure and this image in my head of what I want. And there has been a few times where I've had to have kind of a reality slap saying, calm down. My dad is awesome. I call him a lot of times if I'm ever having like panic attacks or freaking out or, you know, worrying about life and stuff like that. And he really calms me down. And, you know, because I have this image in my head of where I wanted to be since I was a kid at 30, you know, in movies at 30 of the family with the mortgage and the picket fence and the golden lab, everything's done, your bills are done, you're driving a fancy car. But real life doesn't work like that, especially nowadays. Nowadays, it's like houses are like $1 million for like a regular house. Back then, you can get, like when I was young, you can get a 3-bedroom townhouse for like $100 and something thousand. Now that same townhouse is $700 and something thousand. So life is much more difficult, and I've always had this image in my head of what I needed to be. And because I don't own that yet, I'm putting extra pressure on myself, and I'm not enjoying my life until I get to that point. So that's very important. Calm down. You will get there. Be realistic and get to your goals. Once I started doing that, and I'm like, okay, yes, Jessica, this is my plan. This is how I'm going to get there. Just because the movies have your life figured out at 21 doesn't mean that the real world's like that. Doesn't mean that you're like that. You'll eventually get there. So that was a main one. Look at the pressure you're putting on yourself and make sure it's reasonable. Pressure can be good sometimes too because it keeps you motivated. Again, just make sure your pressure is realistic. Another great piece of advice I have is have 2 sets of goals. Have short-term goals and have long-term goals. A short-term goal could be, I typically do within like a year or 2, like say getting a promotion or a raise, or getting like a car, like your first car, for example, because most people just get like beaters, right? You're not going to get a Ferrari as your first car usually. And then a long-term goal could be something like a house, a fancier car, your end goal career. Like for me, to be an entrepreneur, that would be a long-term goal because, you know, for me, I'm a director of marketing now. I want to be a CMO, chief marketing officer, and then an entrepreneur. Again, it's not always a straight path. Hopefully I have an opportunity to do that a lot sooner. But I have that in my long-term kind of plan, you know, opening my business. What would it be? What am I doing? How am I saving for it? Investment properties, that's a long-term goal. Obviously I don't even have my own house yet, so I can't be purchasing investment properties yet, but all those things are in my long-term goals. What this will do is it, again, will help you stay motivated, because if you just have these wild, in a good way, goals at the end of the road here, and you're way back here, and it's 5-10 years before you're touching this, you're going to be so disappointed and not motivated, and some people get depressed because you're not reaching any goals. So if you have much smaller ones that you're able to attain a lot faster, It will keep you motivated. It will give you momentum to keep on going. Trust me, it makes a big difference. Another tip I have is start this mindset young. Start the mindset of saving whatever percentage of your check. Start the mindset of learning about investments. Start the mindset of learning about how important your credit is. I did not learn it until I was in my late 20s. Things would have been very different if I knew what I was doing younger. So that is a huge tip for me. And then my final one is don't compare lives. I know this is very hard, especially in the age of social media. You're seeing all these like 18, 19-year-old millionaires on Instagram showing their butts and stuff like that, and it makes you feel like, really? Which, like, props to them. I'm not saying anything about how people are starting their businesses and stuff. I just mean sometimes it's discouraging because you may feel like you're working very, very hard and it seems to them like it's very easy. That's all I meant by that, is it seems much easier for them, you know? It's just like, oh, they're taking a cute picture and they're a millionaire. Like, seriously, like, how does that work? And I know there's more that goes behind the scenes for that, but I'm just saying, you're looking at all of these people excelling or in Ferraris or doing better than you or where you want to be. Remember that people only post the good things on social media. Remember, you don't know what these people did to get where they are. Remember, not everybody has the exact same opportunities. There are so many factors that go into it. Just because you reach your goal at 40 does not make it any difference. It does not make it any worse, does not mean you failed. Look at all the super rich people, like Apple, Steve Jobs, you know what I mean? Most of them were not 15-year-old billionaires. A lot of them had to work, fail, and then they became rich. I'm not saying you necessarily need to fail, some people did, but I just mean it's a lot of hard work. And just keep in mind that things take time. And just because your friend is something sooner than you, that's their life. They have other problems that you don't have, you know what I mean? Like, everyone's always comparing things, and it's not apples to apples. Not everybody has the same situation. So appreciate what you have and appreciate the journey. My dad always tells me that, appreciate the journey, because that's very true. I'm very like, this is my goal. I'm missing out on everything along the way. When I'm older, what stories am I going to have to tell? That I was stressed out because I was trying to save? No. Enjoy the life. You will get to your goals. Stick to your strict budget, stick to your plan, and just enjoy life along the way. It is possible to have a great life while still budgeting and still achieving your dreams, I promise. I've been switching all of my gears and trying to do the same thing. I encourage you to as well. If you guys have any other tips, make sure to leave them below. And until next time, I'll see you later.